From MTN News, you're watching Montana This Morning.
A Vietnam veteran in Bozeman is told he will never have to experience homelessness again. I'm Gabby Crevitt, and I'll have that full story coming up.
Lockdowns and restrictions in the nation's capital for Wednesday's inauguration. Will there be any place for protesters to go at all? Coming up, Joe St. George shows us what will be allowed at the nation's capital.
Well, good Monday morning. It is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, so if you're observing that holiday, have a great day. And if you're not, well, have a great day too. Holly Brantley here with Chet Lehman and Matt Elwell, and we are watching. I'm currently watching some snowflakes, little flurry action out our window here.
It's not
Matt.
heavy. The problem is it's falling on roadways and melting, and then we're seeing it refreeze because temperatures are below freezing. So keep that in mind. Slow commute to work early this morning. Temperature-wise, we're holding into the 20s and 30s for much of the area. 14 in West Yellowstone. I expect to see some morning snow showers. I think the heaviest, of course, at pass level through the morning. We are keeping an eye on that. I'll give you an update on that coming up in just a little bit. A little light snow is falling. Expect your daytime highs to be right around that 30-degree mark. Mainly talking morning snow, but we may see some activity into the afternoon. I'll talk more about that coming up on the Billion Auto Weather Group patio coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, to news now. The Bozeman School Board is planning to address the question marks surrounding the future of Superintendent Bob Connors.
That's after placing him on administrative leave back in November. Now, Connors had been originally placed on administrative leave while board members sought a performance review back on November 2nd, then extended that leave in another meeting, providing no details behind the action. The board will meet Wednesday night of this week to discuss the matter further, with just one item on the agenda: deciding whether or not Connors will receive more than $290,000 in severance pay. We'll have full coverage of this week from the meeting, which is set to start at 6 p.m. Wednesday, and that meeting will be via Zoom.
Well, all eyes are focused on the House and the rest of the Capitol this week.
President-elect Joe Biden's Wednesday inauguration is expected to bring rallies and protests across the country.
A rally was expected at the Montana Capitol yesterday, but all was quiet in Helena. MTN's Alexi Aguayo was waiting at the Capitol.
Things were quiet at the Montana State Capitol Sunday in regards to any protests, but we have noticed an increased presence of law enforcement. We've seen increased patrol all around the building, and law enforcement also cut off car access in the north side of the building. We do know that the building itself is locked, including all exterior entrances. The Department of Administration also sent out an email to employees this weekend stating local, state, and federal law enforcement will continue to work in the coming days to address any potential issues should they arise. People are encouraged to report any suspicious activity to law enforcement. In Helena, I'm Alexi Aguayo, MTN News.
Well, as security in Washington continues to intensify ahead of the inauguration, one question mark is: where will protesters who have rights under the First Amendment be allowed to gather?
Our Joe St. George walks us through the zones that are established and why some visiting in D.C. still feel it's worth it to travel to Washington.
When protesters show up here in Washington for the inauguration, this is one of two First Amendment zones that have been established. This is John Marshall Park near the Canadian Embassy, where protesters will be allowed to gather. You can see the plastic shield keeps them in. We are located right off of Pennsylvania Avenue, and you can see the Capitol behind us, but you can also see that we're quite far from the actual inaugural stage. One question you may have is, why are people bothering to come here at all? Unlike January 6th, President Trump is not calling for a rally, and President-elect Joe Biden has told his supporters not to come at all because of the pandemic. We found Gino Ross in town from California and asked her that question. Everybody said don't come to D.C., stay away, but you guys still came.
Well, we planned this trip. You know, we didn't know it was going to go down like this, you know. We're here for history. We're not here because of the protests. We're not here. We want to see the Capitol.
Still, the security around the Capitol enough to make even inauguration regulars intimidated. Inside the Capitol this past weekend, it looked like a military camp. National Guardsmen on cots, some playing cards, just to pass the time. In Washington, I'm Joe St. George.
Well, homelessness is something far-reaching across the country, including here in Montana.
Yeah, Jackson is a Bozeman resident and veteran who was experiencing homelessness until a couple in the community helped place him into a program that will ensure a roof over his head for the rest of his life.
MTN's Gabby Crevitt has the story.
Now, if you spend lots of time in downtown Bozeman, you might know Jackson, a Vietnam veteran who is practically living in Sir Optimus Park right under this tree. Well, his life took a major turn around a month ago on Christmas Eve when he was told he would never have to experience homelessness again.
I kind of put my arm around him. I said, you know, your day's changed, your life's changed forever. You're not going to be cold anymore.
Marek Ziegler's work has him out in the community, establishing relationships with people like Jackson and hoping to connect them with resources.
He came to our attention quite frequently, a few times a week, not only by just doing outreach, but also concerned citizens calling in, concerned about his welfare.
Enter Krista Ziegler, Marek's wife, who works for Volunteers of America Northern Rockies. She asked Marek to find out if Jackson was a veteran.
Jackson not only was a Vietnam vet, but he was also eligible for all of our services. And so with that documentation, I was able to start the paperwork to get him into emergency housing.
So on Christmas Eve, Krista and Marek walked from the police station to Sir Optimus Park to see Jackson and to find out if he would accept the program and what it had to offer.
It felt like my heart was in my throat because all I wanted was for him to say yes, because I know that, you know, once he chooses that, then the rest of his life is changed.
Jackson accepted. Krista and Marek helped Jackson pack up his belongings and drove him to a hotel, which is where he'll stay until the Volunteers of America Northern Rockies office finds him a place to stay in Bozeman.
We got him settled in and all his stuff hauled in, and then we said, listen, Krista and their program said, we're going to go get you some food now.
Krista and Marek say Jackson is now part of the family, and they're excited for what the future holds for him.
It was his choice, so when he said yes, it just like emotion came over me because I was thinking, man, you know, his life is going to be changed from this moment.
Reporting in Bozeman, Gabby Crevitt, MTN News.
Love that.
That's
Perfect
amazing.
Christmas gift.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. 6:36 now. This is a great story too. In Wyoming, creative idea giving long-term care residents the first physical interaction they've had with loved ones since the pandemic began.
As MTN's Andrea Lutz reports, this hugging booth is the first of its kind.
Is that a new sweater or
In the midst of a pandemic,
one you've had?
when distance means safety
Someday we might be able to come into your room.
and seeing loved ones is rare.
Well, this is the first day they've done this, and it's really kind of neat.
Today is a first for Chuck Morton and his wife, Lee.
Oh, yeah, I think I remember it.
After 54 years of marriage, the two were separated. Lee went to go live at Cody Regional Health's long-term care center as she suffers from dementia.
And this is her first year here. Of course, we went through the holidays without her, and that was hard.
For 9 months, no physical contact until today.
It goes right along with your outfit, too. Well, that's good.
We sometimes don't realize how much something as simple as a hug, a warm embrace, we need as humans until it's been taken away. Cody Regional Health put restrictions in place in March, all in an effort to keep their residents safe. And it's worked, because this facility has had no positive cases of COVID-19.
Very difficult for everybody.
Because it's just so special to see them, to be able to touch their families, hold their hands. We wanted
But Annalee Avery with the hospital's foundation knew something had to change for these residents and their loved ones.
So this all stemmed from my grandma's 93rd birthday. She's in Ohio, and that's a significant distance. So I drove 5 days in a car. It was with my 3 children to visit with my grandmother through glass. And it was exciting to see her smile, but so hard not to touch her.
So she did the research, bought the materials, and the hugging booth was born.
And it just was near and dear to our hearts because we know what that's like to miss someone.
Studies show that touch can send the body signals of safety and trust. It soothes our hearts, calming cardiovascular stress.
Yeah. Oh, this is nice.
Heck, we could list off all the benefits all day long.
Yeah. Oh, this is really great.
But chances are, it's not needed.
But you look good. You really do.
All you have to do
You feel good, too.
is watch the comfort that overcomes Chuck and Lee.
Just being able to hold someone's hand is so impactful, and to see that happen just melts your heart. It's just wonderful.
Oh, that's pretty neat, hon. Yeah. Okay. That's very nice.
After months of not being able to hold his wife, perhaps this
Try that. Okay, well, you be good, all right?
I'll try to be good.
And I love you, okay?
I love you too.
Okay.
could be the next best thing.
Okay. I'll be there pretty soon.
We'll all be there. Yeah.
Okay.
In Cody, Wyoming, Andrea Lutz, MTN News.
Well, it breaks my heart and fills my heart at the same time. Foundation grants helped build the hugging booth, and our cameras were there on the first official day of scheduled visits for Cody residents.
Love that.
That's incredible.
6:40 now. Do you know the most difficult large animal to see in Yellowstone National Park?
I do not.
Yeah, biologists tell MTN the past mountain lions and wolverines are at the top of that list. That's why this very short video clip is so significant.
Love this.
This is cool. I know, I saw this online. This video came from an automated camera trap set up near the employee housing in Mammoth. It captured this wolverine running through. It's especially rare footage because the wide-ranging and highly secretive animals don't usually frequent places where people are common. So there you go, a chance to see a wolverine. That is the only creature of significance in Yellowstone National Park that I've not seen in the wild. I've seen virtually everything
Chet, that's a
else.
testament
Yeah,
to,
it's what happens when you live here as long as you have. But
legend
yeah,
here.
Wolverine. I've not seen a
Wow.
Wolverine in the wild anywhere. In fact, not just in Yellowstone.
But you will.
I'm hoping.
Why,
I would
can
love
you
to
make
one
that
day.
your 2021 mission?
I would love to be able to do
All right, I'll hold you to that.
I would love it.
Well, coming up on Montana this morning, changes are coming to tax season this year, beginning with the start date. What's different is coming up after the break.
But first, here's Tony DeCopa with a look at what's coming up at 7 o'clock on CBS This Morning.
Good morning. Ahead on CBS This Morning, an extraordinary security operation is underway before Wednesday's inauguration. We'll talk with experts about the threats in D.C. and all around the country, plus what needs to change after the assault on the Capitol. Also, as the U.S. approaches a once unimaginable number of deaths from COVID, 400,000, the CDC is warning a new variant continues to spread. See what's being done to speed up the now slow-moving vaccine distribution process. And first on CBS This Morning, we have an inside look at the new National Museum of African American Music. It's been 22 years in the making. We'll see you at 7.